Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Saturday, May 1st, Ian Cameron with you, and I am joined by, I'm so excited because, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. We don't have Jimmy every day, and we haven't had Alex B. Smith for a long time, but I am so glad, so happy to see my line mate, my right-hand man, my colleague, my friend for almost a decade back on the show today, Alex B. Smith. Alex, you've been missed, not just by me. You look in our YouTube chat, every viewer and listener known to man of the Ice Guys show has missed you and is happy to see you back. How have you been?
Been doing good. Like I said, if you can see the backdrop here, I'm still here in Chicago. I'm in my dad's office, taking care of some stuff, some family issues over the last 2-3 weeks. And so hopefully getting things finally situated. And I'll be getting back to St. Paul, hopefully within the next few days. But, I've been watching the show every day. Of course, and tracking everything. And of course, as we're getting into the playoff race now, teams only got between 4 and 7 games, except for, of course, Vancouver's got like a dozen games left. But this is crunch time, basically, for a lot of teams. And this is going to be the big Saturday. This is the 18th Saturday in NHL history where there's been 15 games played. And it's the only one for this season. So this is a huge day with a lot of great matchups. So glad to be back on, glad to be back on a great day. And we've got a special guest here as well. So I'm really looking forward to this show today.
Exactly. It's Vanessa Williams. We saved the best for last. That's what we introduced you first. We got to save the best for last right here. Loyal viewer of the show, loyal listener. She's in the chat every day. She watches the show as much as she possibly can. She's a huge hockey fan. She's going to tell a story about how she's gone to a lot of Blackhawks games in the past. We welcome in a loyal viewer, loyal listener, and an NHL bettor, and a good one. She knows what she's talking about, and we're happy to have a little dose, a little female infusion on the Ice Guys show. This is the Ice Humans show, or the Ice, people show, as they said in the chat, whatever you want to call it. We welcome in for the first time here on the show. Hopefully you'll be back on again as a special guest if you don't get sick of us. Melissa Cunningham, welcome to the Ice Guys.
Thank you so much, guys. And it's super excited to have my first appearance with Alex as well, because I actually discovered the show from following Alex on Twitter. So super excited to be here. I'm rocking my Penguins jersey today. I had to after that amazing overtime win by Gensel the other day. Super excited. You gave me a huge slate of games today. I love interacting with everyone in the chat. So very excited to be here and give out some winners.
Yeah, and it's great, because it's great that you're into hockey, you're into betting. It's great. And it's like we say, this is now a new era. We give females the platform to showcase what they can do. You look at NHL broadcasts now. What do we see on both sides of the border? We see Cassie Campbell-Pascal. We see Kendall Coyne-Schofield. We see AJ Malesko. We see all these great females involved in the broadcasts of NHL games because they're capable people. They can do it. They know hockey. They can talk about it intelligently, informatively. And Melissa, I know for a fact, I haven't even heard you break down a game yet, and I know you can do that because you're betting this stuff day in and day out. So looking forward to it. Let's get down to business because we've got 15 games. We're going to be here all night if we don't start right now. Let's go to the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins. This game starts at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, the Bruins, a massive favorite here in that minus 370, minus 380 range, the total 5.5 across the board. We got 15 games, so the games that I have absolutely nothing on, I'm going to keep it very short and sweet and to the point, and I'm passing on this game. I have nothing on it whatsoever. You're going to have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in net for the Buffalo Sabres, who has been good at times, not so good at times. I think the Boston Bruins, though, the more they see him, Sabres don't really have anywhere else to turn with Hutton, and Allmark have been banged up for a while. Tokarski as well, nursing something, which is why he's unavailable today. So it's all kinds of issues right now for the Sabres with their goaltending. And I think the Bruins are starting to figure out some weaknesses in Luukkonen's game. They kind of exploited it in the third period a week ago and carried over with more success the last game against the Sabres as well in that 5-2 victory. Jeremy Swayman in net for Boston. I think this kid could be a pretty good goalie in the future. He's shown you definitely some potential for the Bruins. I know Jimmy Murphy, who covers the Bruins, is very, very high on Swayman, and he thinks he could be a really good goalie for them long term. So interesting to see how it goes. I like the fact that David Krejci and Taylor Hall have been excellent for the Bruins. The last, really since the trade deadline. Taylor Hall's doing more times 10 than he ever did with Buffalo since the trade deadline. He's already doubled the amount. Think about that. He's doubled the amount of goals already with the Boston Bruins that he had all season with the Buffalo Sabres before the trade. So another reason to be angry and disappointed and upset and feel why is our franchise like this if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan. I think Boston wins, but it's hard to splice out any kind of value on the Bruins when they're priced like this. The total is 5.5. I could see it going either way. So I'm passing on this game. We'll start with our special guest here today for this game. Melissa, I know you're involved, I believe, in both of these games, these early afternoon games. What do you like here, Sabres and Bruins?
Yeah, so I like to call these my NHL brunch segments, just because brunch is so big here, and leave it to the NHL to give us such a great game to start the slate for us, the Bruins and Sabres, right? So I will tell you this: the Bruins absolutely hate playing on Saturdays, and their record really shows it. If you look at the Bruins' record this year, they're 3-5 on Saturday. So I don't know if they're going out on Fridays and they're just not wanting to play Saturday. But that record really stands out. But the side that I'm on here is I'm going to take a shot on Sabres first period money line. I'm getting that at plus 230. The reason why I'm doing this is the Bruins actually on first period, they have lost the first period 8 of their last 9 games. And including one of those games, they lost to the Sabres earlier this year. They ended up eventually winning the game, but they lost the first period. So, there's really no value right now on taking the Bruins as that high of a favorite. Even I think the puck line is over minus 140. So I'm not going to play that. My hope for this game is we get a fast moving Sabres team right off the bat and they cover that first period. Maybe you go in and live bet the Bruins if you think they're going to finish that off. But that's going to be my official play, the Sabres first period money line. I also lean on the under on this game. Like I said, the Bruins and Sabres matchup has been trending heavily to the unders. I don't think the Bruins are going to lose this game. I think after they lost to the Sabres, they were embarrassed by that. I don't see that happening again, but I'm going to take a shot in that first period money line.
All right, look at that. Go swinging for the fences early with the very first game, Buffalo Sabres plus 230, but you get in the first period, but you gave sound logic. And that's what you sometimes get, Melissa, with these teams that are the superior team. They sometimes just will start slow. They say, hey, we'll get this team. We'll beat this team at the end of the day, at the end of the game. But maybe that first period, you're a little slow, takes you a while to really warm up. But then as the game goes on, the cream rises to the top, the better team takes over. They come back and they win the game after that slow start. But there is something to that the Bruins have started games a little bit slowly. There's no question. And you mentioned it. It bears out in the results lately as well for the Bruins. You're right about this being an under-dominated series. The one thing that concerns me about the under today is the 2 overs had Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, today's starting goaltender, in net for the Buffalo Sabres. So Boston's definitely had a good time of it scoring against this guy. We'll see if that continues today. Alex, what's your thoughts here, Sabres and Bruins?
Yeah, you mentioned that with the under in this series. I was on the under last game, and you had those 2 goals late. Well, even before the 2 goals late in the third period. Look at the goal at basically the buzzer of the first period that gave Boston the 2-1 lead. Great if you had the first period over. If you were able to get that, especially live, adjusted. Or had Boston in the first period money line cashes with that goal. I think it's like literally a tenth of a second left where it goes in. That pretty much is the killer for that under 5.5 in that game that I was on at plus money. But like you said, you always wonder about where's Buffalo going to get their goals. Obviously they're just playing for exercise, as you like to say. And it's still a big series for Boston. They need all the points they can get to keep climbing in the East. So I'm going to take a shot with the team total over 3.5. It's a bit steep. You got to lay somewhere between 145, almost up to 160 with the Bruins. But I think this is going to be a game where, like you said, they came out a bit sluggish and, end up putting the screws to the Sabres late in that game. So they want to, establish a good start early. Both these teams play early games often, so that's not going to be an issue as far as scoring is concerned. So maybe even a lean with the full game over. Possibly, but you can find a better price adjusted live. But I like the team total over with Boston more, so I'm going to take a shot with that 3.5 over at minus 140.
There you go. And that's the bet I was on the other night with the Sabres and the Bruins. Boston team total over. I would certainly lean in that direction again as well. I just decided first game of the day, 15-game card. I'm going to stay off it, but that makes sense, that Bruin team total over. Tampa Bay, Detroit. We've got no confirmed goalies yet. I get the sense that maybe Vasilevsky's rested here because it's Detroit. We'll have to wait and see, but no confirmation yet. Lightning and Red Wings is a 3 p.m. start. Tampa Bay minus 330-ish. Home road favorites, I should say, huge favorites here in this game. Total 5.5 across the board. Should be interesting to see how this game plays out because Detroit's been scrappy. Detroit's been feisty. They hang in a lot of games lately. I mean, the effort for this team's pretty good. And look, Jacob Vrana, the big piece that came back to the Red Wings in the Anthony Mantha trade with the Washington Capitals, he's been pretty good for the Red Wings. He's really been the guy that's been leading the team offensively lately, especially with Dylan Larkin out and Adam Ernie out as well, who had been actually a pretty good offensive force for the Red Wings as well. But it's been Jacob Vrana definitely keeping this team afloat at the offensive end. Tampa Bay, you get the sense maybe that they're starting to put their pedal to the metal a little bit. 2 pretty good wins in a row for Tampa. I mean, they put the boots, unfortunately, to Alex's Chicago Blackhawks the other night in that, 6-2 win. They got their offense going. And then against a Dallas team the other night, guys, that was just extremely desperate, the Dallas Stars, in that game, needing every point, trying to catch Nashville for the final spot, and Tampa Bay just snuffed them out. They didn't really generate a whole lot. The Stars, Tampa Bay gets a shutout win 3-0 against a team that needed the points badly. So maybe the Lightning are trying to ramp their game up into that playoff level. You know, we got to make sure we're peaking. We're playing at our best going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. This could be that time of year with just less than 2 weeks left in the season and only several games left that Tampa Bay's maybe going to take these games a little bit more seriously, try to make sure they're playing their best moving forward. I'm not going to be involved at all in this game. I think if Vasilevsky's in, it certainly favors Tampa. I wouldn't want to be on Tampa at this price if it isn't Andre Vasilevsky, and all due respect to Curtis McElhinney. And I wouldn't want to trust Detroit to win the game here either against Tampa Bay, who look like they've gotten their act together a little the last 2. So I'm not involved in this game side or total. Alex, will go to you first for this one, Tampa Bay, Detroit.
Yeah, I've been on this first period over pretty much the entire season with these two teams playing. It's cash out well. 5 of the last 6 have gone over, and actually should have gotten that 6th one. It was a 1-0 first period, but there was a couple of good quality chances by both teams. We've seen, like I said, Tampa Bay is usually dominating this Detroit team more often than not. Like I said, they want to, even though they're going to rest some guys, in this stretch. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, but they still have an outside chance at winning that Central Division title. Remember, home ice is important now because, unless things change and we end up being in a bubble, you're going to have the travel spot. So you want to be first or second rather than third. So this is a far more important game for Tampa Bay than some might think. So I'm going to take a shot with the first period over and hoping that maybe Tampa scores first and then Detroit can score after that. That way I can possibly find a way to get a better price in game with the Lightning, or maybe even a Lightning on the puck line live. So that's the way I'm going to attack this. But I definitely like this first period over here. Only laying $1.15.
All right, like in Tampa Bay, Detroit over 1.5 minus 115 in that first period for Alex in this one. Good point, Alex, about load management is creeping into the NHL here for some teams these last few days. I don't like it in the NBA. I'm sick. That's why it's so fucking frustrating capping the NBA daily, because you don't know who's going to be in and who's going to be out on a daily basis. It bothers me. I pound my head against the wall every day. I bet a team, and then all of a sudden their whole starting 5 is out. I'm like, oh, well, there goes that money. I'll never see that again. And it's really frustrating. And now the NHL, you look at the Leafs the other night against Vancouver. They had several guys that were resting. But I'm not going to blame the NHL teams like I blame. The NBA has been doing this shit for years now. At least the NHL, it's only this season, and they have a right to do this because it's been a gruesome schedule. It's been a very, very tough schedule, a lot of games in a condensed period of time. These guys are cooped up in their hotel. They've made a lot of sacrifice to play this season. If they need a rest, you want to keep them fresh for the playoffs. I'm in a season where you've played a lot of games and it's in a tight schedule in a short period of time. I'm not going to begrudge a team or a head coach of resting some guys this season in the NHL based on the scenario of the season that it's been. No question. Melissa, we'll turn to you here. What do you like with the Lightning and the Red Wings?
Yeah, I'm all over the over on this one. I locked it in over 5.5. I'm getting minus 120. These teams, when they match up against each other in Detroit, the over is actually hit in the last 6 games together. So kind of like Alex mentioned, we're not sure the goalies yet, but I see a lot of goals. I even see Detroit maybe, scoring, get this a 4-2 matchup. Detroit's been kind of a hit or miss team. I've backed them a couple times when they're very heavily underdogs where it's hit for me. And then, I go on the other side and they win. So definitely laying off the side here. The Red Wings definitely have a great future ahead of them. But right now, obviously the value on the Lightning is way too high. So I don't want to get involved in that. And I'm not willing to back the Red Wings right now. So going to stick with the over as my official play.
All right. Melissa liking Tampa Bay, Detroit over 5.5. On we go to Pittsburgh and Washington. The team that Melissa is donning the jersey of today, the Penguins, as they look to make it 2 in a row against the Washington Capitals. We're looking here at a price around even money, both sides here in this one. The total 6 shaded to the over. I'm probably going to go right back to the over in this game. I had a Pittsburgh and over 2-0 sweep in the game the other night against the Washington Capitals. And boy, they didn't make it easy or without stress for me, the Penguins, the other night, as the Washington Capitals actually tied the game 4-4 in the final minute to force overtime, but the Penguins get the game-winning goal to get the 5-4 victory. I like the look of this Pittsburgh team right now. Overall, they bounced back obviously from a tough loss to Boston in the second of the 2 games against the Bruins, but Crosby, Gensel, and Rust have been outstanding, leading the way for the Pittsburgh Penguins up front. Jeff Carter's been a nice addition. He is still a guy that can produce and contribute to a team. He's not going to be the Jeff Carter in his prime lighting up the score sheet, but he can still get it done. And in a third line role, it's a perfect spot, perfect scenario for him now in this stage of his career. The defense, like I say, with a healthy Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang, I think now that he's not getting traded, Chris Letang looks relaxed out there. He looks like, hey, I'm here. We're going to make this playoff push. It's like it's almost relaxed him and put him at ease. And now he's just focusing on playing hockey. I think he's played some of his best hockey lately. When Dumoulin's healthy and on the ice, they're a better blue line. John Marino is going to be a stud defenseman for a very long time as well for Pittsburgh. There's a lot to like. Washington, I hate to say it because I said it Thursday breaking this game down, Melissa and Alex. They're giving up too many good chances. They're giving up too many high danger chances. Their expected goals against is too high for a team with the record they have. Eventually, you're going to pay the piper, and teams are going to score when you're allowing them too many good looks. And Pittsburgh finally cashed in on a Washington team that's been giving up those looks. The Islanders couldn't. Some other teams they played have not been able to bury their chances. Pittsburgh did. They're putting a lot of duress day in and day out on Vanacek and Samsonov. They're 2 goalies. So they've got to shore up the defense. That's the thing. That's why I'm not as bullish as some people on Washington at playoff time. I'm still concerned about their blue line. Carlson, of course, got hurt, didn't play the other night. That's a concern as well. We'll see if he returns to the lineup today for Washington. I lean to Pittsburgh again, believe it or not, but Washington off a loss at home has usually been a pretty good bounce back for them, which is why I'm staying off the side. I lean to Pittsburgh. I'm just going to stick to the over once again, over 6 here, -115. And this is another one of those head-to-head matchups where Penguins and Capitals get together. We've seen more higher scoring games than not. So I'd expect more of the same here tonight. We'll go to Melissa here first. She's got the Penguins jersey. Does she see good things on the horizon tonight for the Penguins against the Capitals?
Yeah, absolutely. And, they are playing on a Saturday night, which the Penguins have a great record of. I believe this year Penguins have, they've won 8 out of 9 matchups on Saturday night. So I don't think Sid lets these guys go out on Friday night. He wants them focused and ready to go. I love this matchup. Being a Penguins fan, I love when they play the Capitals. Ovechkin is really not my favorite player. As you can tell, I'm a Sid fan. So I loved, seeing him in the box the other night. I think they zoomed in on him and he just looks so mad. So I see Money Mac in the chat right now saying that Ovi is not going to allow that team to lose again. 100% agree with you, but I am going to keep backing Penguins. I think they've been playing well. I love the addition of Carter. I think he's really fitting in nicely with that team. I'm also, the other night I was on the draw here. The draw has hit 4 out of 7 of the matchups. So I'm going to take another shot on the draw. I believe I'm getting that at plus 305. So going to take that and hope I get that ideal situation again with Penguins pulling it off in overtime. But because I watch this team a lot, I wanted to give you guys some goal props. Again, these are smaller plays for me that I like to do. But since I watch this team a lot, I wanted to come give you guys 3 today. Ian mentioned Russ. He's on that first line recently with Crosby and Gensel, and he's scored 2 goals in the last 5. I'm getting him at plus 200. So if you're into goal props, I would suggest adding him on there as he continues to, excel on that first line. I'm also going to go back to Carter. I'm going to add him as a goal prop at plus 285. And we're going to finish it off with who I'm wearing and supporting today, Jake Gensel. He's going to be plus 143. Yes, I just gave you 3 goal props, so obviously I'm on the over 2. I was shocked the other night that the over was at 5.5. Like, how did that even happen? It should have been at 6.5 with the way these teams play each other. So I was all over that. Also got over 6 at minus 104, which really isn't that bad considering these, the over has hit so many times. So really happy the way my Pens are playing. I think that they continue to roll. I don't know if Ovi's playing or not. I haven't seen. I know they announced Malkin was game time decision, but I doubt that he's going to play. But hopefully Ovechkin doesn't play. That would be ideal.
Yeah, they're going to wait and see on him. They're looking at game time decision right now. There wasn't an update at the Washington morning skate today whether he'd be in. Malkin, of course, is nearing a return. Not quite yet. Perhaps tonight we'll have to wait and see, but I think it'll be more than likely later this week for Evgeny Malkin. But nevertheless, yeah, Pittsburgh, again, it's all going to come down to Jari for this team. Jari and Samsonov, by the way, are your goalies here tonight in this game with the Penguins and the Capitals. Jari's the key. He's got the excuses are out the window for this kid. At playoff time, you're going to have to get it done because your blue line is relatively healthy now compared to where it was last year. You've got now more offense. You've got Crosby and that top line playing well. I think Jared McCann's been an outstanding player. I mean, this guy's really been a go-to guy at times when there's been guys out. Some other guys aren't carrying their weight offensively. Kasperi Kapanen's been an outstanding pickup from the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a lot to like with Pittsburgh. It's going to circle back around to Tristan Jarry at playoff time, being able to make the saves when he needs to. Alex, what do you think here, Pittsburgh and Washington?
Yeah, there's a couple of things I like here in this matchup. But obviously, these are two teams that clinched playoff spots. But like I said, the division race is of the utmost importance now at this point. And, being 1-2 and knowing just how close everything is in the East. You can't take your foot off the gas for a second in these next 5 or 6 games for either team. So I'm going to be looking here at the first period over. This is a bit high at minus $1.40. There's a couple other first period plays I'll mention throughout the show. I would recommend maybe tying this into a parlay with another first period over. This is a great spot. 6 of the last 10 meetings have gone over in the first period, and Washington has been on an absolute killer run, 14-5 in the last 19. Going over to the first period. So $1.40 is a tad bit steep, but there's some other spots on the board where I like it where you could tie it in and do a 2-teamer and it makes sense and it would give you back some good value. Melissa made a good point with the draw here as well for the last 7 meetings going into overtime. And once again, as you mentioned, when you have teams that are this close in the race and 1-2, both teams would get home ice advantage. So if this game's tied 2-2 or 3-3 with 5 minutes left in the third, these teams might slow it down a little bit and say, hey, let's get our points, and do what we must. And then, we'll settle it in overtime or in the shootout. So I'm going to take a shot here with the draw here at plus 305 as well.
Yeah, the draw is not a bad option. We just saw these teams go to overtime. They've gone to overtime multiple times head-to-head this season. That's not a bad look at all, the draw. These are tight, competitive games more often than not with the Penguins and the Capitals. I don't see anything different taking place tonight. New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia Flyers. Next game on the slate here in this one, as these two teams, they seem to be playing for a month straight. It feels like it with these two teams. They've played each other a bunch lately. And once again, going head-to-head tonight in this one. We've got Philadelphia about minus 140, home favorites in this game. The total 6 shaded to the over. You know where I'm going here. I mean, you've heard me all week on these shows talking about Devils, Flyers, overs, Devils, Flyers, overs, right back to Devils, Flyers, over tonight. Over the 6, in my opinion. These two teams have been flying over the total every head-to-head game. Neither team's making the playoffs. There's not a whole lot of defensive intent. Like, who's kidding who? There's not a whole lot of defensive intensity right now on either side of the ice with these two teams at the moment. They're not going to the playoffs, but their offense is revved up on both sides. Couturier, Giroux has gotten it going lately for the Flyers. On the other side, you got Zaka, Bratt, Heishier, all chipping in offensively. Miles Wood has been excellent. And all of a sudden, this young center for the Devils, Sharon Govich, he's just starting to really light it up for New Jersey, specifically in these recent meetings against the Philadelphia Flyers. So I basically just rhymed off a bunch of players that maybe you want to look at points props and goal scoring props tonight in this game. If there's a game I'm going to be betting quite a few goal scoring props and points props and player props just in general, it would be this game, Devils and Flyers. Sharon Govich is the one I would bet because he's been just torching this Flyers team the last few games in the head-to-head series against them. It's Brian Elliott in net for the Flyers. At this point in time, I think they could have Bernie Parent in his prime, and I think they'd still give up goals at this rate. The Philadelphia Flyers, with the way that defense has played this season for the most part, very disappointing because this is what the bread and butter of the Flyers when they made the playoffs last year was their defensive play, and it's just been hideous compared to what it was last year. No confirmed goalie yet for the Devils. It's been Blackwood lately. Wouldn't surprise me to see a Wedgwood or Farmer in the Dell. Aaron Dell sighting even potentially tonight to give him a rest. We'll have to wait and see. But look, it's just very simple. I don't want either side. Just give me goals once again, just like we have seen every recent meeting here between the Devils and the Flyers. So New Jersey, Philadelphia over 6, -115 for me. Alex, what do you think here, Devils and Flyers?
It's interesting. I do my goalie power rankings and charts on the Patreon page. And one thing that I don't add, because it's a little bit more detailed, and I'm kind of working on this algorithm a little bit, if you will, is goalies for totals. If you look at the 3 goalies that New Jersey have, as far as totals are concerned, I have them all even. It really doesn't matter if it's Blackwood, Wedgwood, or Dell, if I like an over or an under with those 3 goalies. So the fact that these two teams have been scoring left and right, like I said, they're playing for exercise right now. It's going to be a roll out the puck and see who gets the most goals kind of a game. So I like the first period over. As I mentioned, a high price. Might want to tie that in with that Pittsburgh first period over I just talked about, or a couple others that are on the board. And I like this full game over 6 as well. I just don't see where the effort's going to come into play, lockdown defense, and it just hasn't shown up, especially like I said, Philly's just been kind of falling apart. So if I had to take a shot with a side, it would be New Jersey, but I like the overs a bit more. So first period over and full game over for me.
Yeah, in terms of the side, I agree with you. I would lean Devils. They show a little bit more of a want to win these games right now than the Philadelphia Flyers, and that's not unexpected. There's a young team trying to put their stamp their foot on the ground and say, hey, this is what we want to be moving forward. This is the team we want to become. The Philadelphia Flyers are on the flip side. A lot of expectations. They thought they'd be a playoff team. They're not. They're disappointed. They probably just want to get the season over with. There might be a little bit more excitement and just a little more want to win, a little more care about winning these games down the stretch, so to speak, for the Devils, I think, than what you're seeing from the Flyers right now. So I'm in agreement with you. I would lean New Jersey from a side perspective. Melissa, what do you like here, New Jersey and Philly?
Yeah, this matchup is just the gift that keeps on giving for that over for us. I've had the over in all 3 matchups, back to Devils in the last 2 games that they've won. But what I like tonight, obviously the over, I locked it in over 6. Also, I like the Devils in the first period money line. I'm getting that at +120. And the last 3 matchups, the Devils have just dominated the Flyers in that first period. So I've noticed that when we first had this matchup, the Devils were getting a higher plus. I think they were right around, almost 200 at some matchups. Right now, it's lowered significantly. So I think the value is for me. I'm going to take a shot in the first period money line rather than the full game money line. Devils have won 2 in a row, so maybe the Flyers respond. But I like those trends with the first period, and I also love the over for this one.
All right, great breakdown there again with the Devils and the Flyers. So we're basically in concerto here with this total. We all see goals in bunches. Once again, as we've seen the last 3 meetings this week between the Devils and the Flyers, we move on to the Battle of New York now. New York Rangers, New York Islanders. Islanders -135 home favorites, total 5.5 across the board. The sane person, the sane voice in my head would say, Ian, don't bet the Islander games anymore. You bet on the Islanders, they lose. You bet against them, they win. That's been the pattern lately. I was on the Islanders against Washington. Washington beats them twice, and I was on them both games. They lost both games. I went against them with the Rangers the other night. The Islanders kicked the crap out of the Islanders in that game. So what do I do here? I mean, I've obviously had a tough read with this team lately from a side perspective. I'll tell you right now, I don't know if I'll bet it because I've just had no luck with the Islanders lately, going on or against them. But to me, this is an imperative game for the New York Rangers. Absolutely imperative. They can't lose any more ground to the Boston Bruins. Boston already picked up 2 points more on the Rangers Thursday night with their win against Buffalo, and the Rangers lost to the Islanders. They must absolutely get the job done here today. So I think you're going to get a firmly motivated team. I don't mind the fact the Rangers are in revenge. The Islanders are still playing uneven hockey. They did get their offense going the other night against the Rangers, and that's a scary thing because the lack of scoring punch had been the problem for the Islanders during their little funk and their losing streak. I worry a little bit, at least, that maybe they've snapped out of it, and they do play well at home. So, I don't know. Then again, if I don't bet the Rangers and they win tonight, I'm going to be so livid because that's the way this often works. But for me, it would be a lean to the Rangers. I definitely want to put it out there right now. Rangers are nothing for me in this game at the plus price. But again, my luck with the Islanders and my success with them has not been there in recent games from a side perspective. I think the game does go under as well. And you had a higher scoring game the last game with these teams, largely because the Islanders got going. Back-to-back overs with the Islanders hasn't happened in a very long time. So I could see this game being lower scoring. Lean Rangers, but don't know if I'll get there. Melissa, we'll start with you on this one. Rangers taking on the Islanders.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup here. It's a must-win situation for the Rangers, and myself personally, I'd love to see the Rangers make a run and get in the playoffs. I think this team loves to score. We don't see them in the playoffs often, so would love to see them in there. But the Islanders are just so good at home this year, and they got embarrassed by the Capitals to lose 3 in a row, and then come back and beat the Rangers the other night 3-0. They got the momentum right now. So it's a tough one for me. I lean Islanders. If it was plus value, I'd be all over the Islanders like I was the other night, but I don't know if I want to. Yeah, I'm a little indifferent on it. I'll probably just watch this game instead of play it, to be honest. Hope the Rangers win.
Yeah, and the Islanders are still the better of these two teams. Certainly the better of these two teams defensively. There's no question about that. I do think the Rangers will fire back strong with a much better game, and they have shown that ability to park a bad game and be much better the next time out. And for them, 6 points back now, got to get it. You simply have to have this one if you're the New York Rangers, if you have any inkling of challenging Boston for that final East Division playoff spot. Alex, what's your take here, Rangers and Islanders?
Well, here's the interesting thing about, having like these games late in the year. We talked about Boston and Buffalo. It's going to be starting in about a few minutes. So the Rangers are going to know before they even hit the arena, what their fate is. If Boston gets 2 points, this afternoon, they may just be saying, hey, they might give that effort, but I would think that it might be the opposite of just, we pretty much don't have much of a chance left. We're going to try and give our best, but the Islanders, we're like going to, solid, get a playoff spot here for sure. They still want to try and get some points, gain some ground, and maybe get that second spot. Try and get the home ice advantage. Like I said, they've been dynamite at home all season long. So I'm actually going to take a shot here with the Islanders in regulation. I think this is going to be a good spot for them. And like I said, this Ranger team, the motivation could be, flip-flop depending on what happens with this Boston game this afternoon. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. Like I said, the Islanders have kind of burned me at times too. I've been on them where I felt that I got a great price and a great spot, and it just completely laid an egg. So I think this will be one of those games here where they, it's obviously it's a rivalry. It's always going to be a fiery competition, but I think the Islanders have a little bit more to gain, with things on the horizon as far as them being a playoff team and want to get that home ice spot. So I like them in regulation. I got it at plus 105.
All right, liking the Islanders in regulation here, Alex, at plus 105. That's a good point. If Boston beats Buffalo today, and now all of a sudden the gap is 8 points, is there still that, wow, we can really make the playoffs and gung-ho effort tonight? Or, wow, where it's a really uphill battle now. It's like climbing a mountain, and we're not sure we've got the foot soldiers to do it. That's going to become the question here if you're the Rangers. Alexander Georgiev, by the way, is confirmed as the goalie tonight for the Rangers. Played well in his last game. Was the Flyers, who were scuffling, but 4-1 win, played extremely well. Not surprising because Shesterkin obviously had a little bit of a rough night by his standards against the Islanders a couple of nights ago. So it's not shocking David Quinn's gone to Georgiev as his goaltender for this game tonight between the Rangers and the Islanders. We got Columbus and Kakalaki here. The Carolina Hurricanes, minus 320 to minus 350 favorites here. The total in this one, 5.5, pretty much across the board in this one. It's not much of an opinion here. Carolina should win. Put them in a parlay. Put them. You want to put -1.5 potentially in a parlay. You can do that. Columbus, has at least shown some fight though, and that's the thing. That's why I'm staying off this game entirely. Columbus is not the last few games looking like one of those teams that's completely rolled over and quit and not given any effort. You've seen them battle in games. They almost beat Tampa Bay, and of course they finally snapped the ugly losing streak, beating Detroit earlier this week. Again, it's the Red Wings, but you have to remember they played Tampa Bay very tough, this Columbus team. So they haven't completely rolled over this season, even though it's been disappointing, even though Tortorella's looks like he's totally out of it, in terms of, trying to light a spark under this team. But the players have played a better effort all around at both ends of the ice. And the offense is actually starting to hit a little bit for this team. You're seeing guys like Eric Robinson even step up lately for the Blue Jackets. And, they've still got, of course, Atkinson and Bjorkstrand. And I've just been impressed that for a team that's had a disappointing season, it's so easy to just mail it in for the rest of this regular season. But we haven't seen that effort-wise from the Jackets, at least in the last few games. And with them finally winning a game against Detroit, maybe they get a little pep in their step and momentum from that. I always like that sometimes, to look at teams that snap a long losing streak and then maybe they keep it up going forward. But all that being said, I have no interest fading Carolina. This is a great hockey team. They finally beat Detroit. Detroit had been their nemesis this season. They had struggled against the Red Wings, and they finally got the better of Detroit in their last game. They're battling for a division crown. They want to wrap up the division crown with Florida and Tampa Bay still right behind them for first place in the Central Division. Still lots to play for if you're Rod Brind'Amour and the Hurricanes. I just like this team so much with Aho and Trocheck, and Jordan Stahl's been a great captain. Svechnikov, Niederreiter, the blue line's been outstanding. Nedeljkovic should be the goalie, I think, at playoff time, unless Mrazek, can get healthy. And that's the question mark. Mrazek, again, ailing day to day. What else is new? Mrazek's been a good goalie when he's been in there, but he can't stay on the ice and stay healthy. That's been the issue. I think if you're Rod Brind'Amour, you got to seriously consider running with this kid at playoff time, Nedeljkovic. He's been outstanding. He's the best you've got right now. He's won a Calder Cup. He's been to a Calder Cup in the AHL. He knows championship playoff hockey and success, different level, but still, he's experienced it. I think you may have to go with him at this point. So interesting how this one goes. I think Carolina wins. The value's not great. I'm passing on the game. Alex, what about you? Columbus, Carolina.
I love this draw here. And the price is outrageous if you have a Bet Online account. Plus 425. That's the highest draw I think I've seen in quite some time. And it's insane because 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams have gone to overtime. It seems like we see Carolina every other game going to overtime. Like I said, no matter whether they're playing the top of the division in Florida or Tampa Bay or even bottom teams, like I said, like Detroit and Dallas. So they have a propensity to go into 60 minutes and, kind of let teams hang around. And like I said, Columbus hasn't rolled over back-to-back games with them going into overtime. That game was scoreless with Detroit before they get the winner in the extra frame. So plus 425 for two teams that tend to play close against one another and have played close in games of late. I think that's more than great value. So I'm going to go with the draw with the Hurricanes and Blue Jackets.
Of course, and you're getting a huge price on that draw, Alex, because, of course, the Hurricanes are a massive favorite. So the bigger the favorite, the bigger the draw price is going to be, and the better the draw price is going to be if you think the game can go past 60 minutes. So Columbus, Carolina draw at a plus 425 price for Alex in that one. And you're right, Columbus has been competitive throughout the season series against the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll see if it can continue tonight. Melissa, do you have any betting interest here with the Jackets and the Canes?
No, I do not. But I do want to make a note. I did saw earlier before the show started that Laine is out tonight, and they didn't disclose why. So I do want to talk a little bit about Laine here because, when he got traded to the Blue Jackets, I thought this was going to be a great addition for that team. I followed Laine pretty heavily at the Jets. He played with one of my all-time favorite players, Dustin Byfuglien, who also used to be on the Blackhawks. So that's kind of where I started watching the Jets as well. It's just as a fan of him to see how he's really played in Columbus, and then now to see that he's out maybe on a personal issue. It just shows me that he's really checked out. And I don't know if it's just because he's not getting along with the coach or whatnot. But I had very high hopes for him, so kind of disappointed to see that on my end. But as far as this game, yeah, like Alex said, it really can go either way. The obvious is obviously that the Hurricanes are just going to, wipe this team out 4 or 5-0. Just because the Blue Jackets seem to be a little defeated. It kind of reminds me of that Bruins team or not Bruins, Sabres team that was just losing constantly. And then once they finally got that win, they kind of had a little bit more spark in them. So, I'm staying off this game. If anything, I lean the team total over 3.5 for the Hurricanes. But yeah, probably won't even watch this one.
But that is an excellent comparison, Melissa, you just brought up. That you're right. Buffalo got the first win, and then that's when all of a sudden the effort kicked up, and the team really started to put a couple of more wins on the board. Beat a Boston once, beat a Pittsburgh once. They've done that in the last couple of weeks, and that's the scary part, because sometimes this team is just rolling along and the dressing room is just, quiet as can be. Nobody's talking, nobody's chattering, because it's just, you're losing, you're stressed, you're struggling right now. And then you get that win, and it's like, it pumps your spirits up, and it could, bolster you a little bit in the short term. Maybe that they get that bump from that win the other night, Columbus. We'll have to wait and see on that, but it's a good comparison, because that's exactly what happened to the Buffalo Sabres when they snapped their losing streak. They started to play more competitively. Lion A is an illness-related absence tonight. He's got a bout of the torts. He's sick of Tortorella. That's why he's out. And Tortorella, vice versa, is sick of him, I'm sure. No question about that. That's the illness. It's not a flu. It's not, any kind of head cold or anything like that. No, it's not COVID. It's a bout of the torts is what it is for Patrick Lyon. Kidding, of course. It's obviously some kind of illness, some kind of real illness. But it's obviously been, and Dan Fritchie, who was our guest on Thursday's show, said it perfectly. He knows Columbus very well. He's an Ohio kid. He played for Columbus, played for Minnesota, played for the Rangers in the NHL. He said it well. He said, these two guys aren't going to be coexisting next year in Columbus. One's going to go, either Tortorella or Laine. I think that's the way it's got to be. They're not going to be back together again. And I think it's Tortorella that's probably going to end up being gone, because it's always, you can fire the coach. You can't fire all the players all the time. All right, next game on this Saturday card as we move on down, we've got Ottawa and Montreal. Montreal about -155 home favorites here in this game. The total right now in this one sitting at around, it looks like 6, pretty much even money here. I can't say this is great value, but we have seen a feeding frenzy in the betting markets betting this Ottawa Senators team today for this game. And I can't say I blame them. For Montreal, that was a win last night for them against the Winnipeg Jets. That was pretty much, if we haven't already clinched the playoff spot, we basically pressed Calgary right up against the edge of the cliff with that win last night. And we're just about ready to push them over with that win, because Calgary now has to just almost run the table and hope Montreal just stumbles beyond belief down the stretch in their remaining regular season games. That's what it's going to take. That win for Montreal last night against the Jets, coming back, and they were down 2-0. We'll give them credit. Everybody on this show lately, especially Jimmy and I, we've taken our turns absolutely shitting on the Montreal Canadiens lately for their play and their lack of offense. But let's be honest, they got their offense going last night, which was good to see. They got some other contributors. Arturi Lehkonen stepped up, scored a big goal for them. Suzuki had a great game for the Canadiens. That's good to see. But how many times have we have to watch this same movie play out with the Canadiens and not keep going with it? And that's after a win. They can't sustain it. They cannot keep going and put two good games together. It's been a long time since we've seen that for the Montreal Canadiens. In Ottawa, all they do is make life miserable for the Montreal Canadiens. All year they've played this team tough, and I expect more of the same. And they're actually in good form, Ottawa. They basically provided a death nail to the Vancouver Canucks this week with back-to-back wins against them, ending their playoff hopes. Tkachuk, Drake Batherson, Josh Norris, Timmy Stützle, Connor Brown, Dadonov. This team they got their young players up front on the forward group rolling right now. Their defense led by Thomas Chabot and Brandstrom, who's going to be an excellent defenseman in this league for a long time as well, and has been good. And look, even Marcus Hogberg's had to take the net the last few games with Matt Murray out, and he's been pretty good actually for the Senators. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Ottawa do what they've done, give Montreal a tough game, and maybe pull out the win. I grabbed Ottawa. I got plus 170 on Ottawa, a pretty good price, because I knew I was going to be on this side. Back-to-back for Montreal, flat spot, lay an egg clunker after a big win that almost sealed the playoff spot for them over Calgary just about. Wouldn't surprise me to see them fall flat today. And, of course, you got the youngster for Montreal, Caden Primo, getting the start in net for the Canadiens. And, of course, Calgary beat Montreal the last start Caden Primo made in net for the Habs. I just think we have a very live dog here. I remember backing Ottawa, getting this kind of price in Montreal on a Saturday just a week or two ago, and they cashed in, and actually they shut out Montreal in that game. I don't know about shut out, but I think they got a real live dog chance to win this game. I like the Ottawa Senators here for sure at the plus price against this Montreal team, and I'll dare Montreal to put 2 games in a row together that are good, quality performances, and I haven't seen that from them in a very long time. Melissa, we'll start with you on this one. The Battle of the Ontario-Quebec border, I guess you could say, Ottawa and Montreal.
Yes, fully aligned with you there, Ian. I am on the Senators money line. I actually got it last night at plus 175. I love watching this Ottawa team. They're a young team. You can tell that they're rebuilding. That city has, wanted such a hockey team for so long. So it's great to see just the rebuild going through that team. And, I enjoy watching them. I think these kids are scrappy. They like to have fun out there. Ottawa has probably been my dog moneymaker this year. Usually when I back them, they at least, get very close, or, you could tell that they're playing their hearts out. So, I don't like Montreal in that back-to-back spot. I actually was on the Jets last night, so unfortunate that they lost. But again, I do give Montreal some credit. I wouldn't be surprised if the Flames can maybe catch them. If they're not in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it's very slim right now. But got to give them a little more credit. But today, I just don't like them in that back-to-back situation. So I'm going to make the Senators money line my official pick.
All right, Melissa's on Ottawa as well. By the way, I have plus 150 on Ottawa, not plus. They were never plus 170. Plus 150 is what I have with Ottawa, and it's down to plus 140, plus 135 now at most spots. Unfortunately, the betting markets have bitten off a chunk here of the Ottawa Senators. No question about it. Hopefully, I don't choke on it now in this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa, Montreal.
Yeah, I missed the boat that you guys got with the big prices on Ottawa, but it makes sense. They've won 4 of the last 6 meetings. And they've kind of relished in this role now, trying to be the giant killers, kind of put a wrinkle in some of these teams' playoff hopes. Montreal, I mean, they looked good last night. I wasn't that over with them and the Jets. And Winnipeg's just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. I asked some good friends in Winnipeg who kind of alerted me to this, saying that, it's pretty much the end of the road for Winnipeg. And, they have so many points that they still might, stumble into a playoff spot, potentially in that 4th spot. But who knows what could happen with a few more games left. And obviously, you got a lot left with, the postponement. So there's still more games to be played in this division, of course, the North, than the other 3 divisions. So we'll keep an eye on that. But with this game here, I'm going to look at the first period over. You're only laying at $1.30 here. And the fact that, this is kind of one of those matchups where we could see this be 1-1 or 2-1 after 20 minutes. If it is tied going into the intermission, then I'll be looking to take a shot with Ottawa. I'm going to see how Montreal starts off right away after, playing the game last night. And I want to see where Ottawa's head's at as well. So, playing the first period over, we can get that cash, and then it gives us a glimpse into looking at what's going to possibly happen in the next 40 minutes or so of play. Then I may be willing to take a shot on Ottawa money line. So that's the way I'm going to attack it. I'm going to go first period over, and if I like what I'm seeing from the Senators, then I'll jump on a live money line.
All right, first period over for Alex with the Sens and the Habs, and also maybe a live bet on Ottawa if they're playing well, carrying the play early in the game here against Montreal. Next game, we've got Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs here. Another rematch here with these 2 teams. We've got Vancouver and Toronto. Toronto minus close to minus 300 here in this game, just north of that. Total 6 across the board. Again, beware of what Sheldon Keefe does with his lineup. This is one of those games you may want to wait a little bit until we get closer to that opening puck drop just to see what the lineup will be, because the last game we saw, several regulars rested. Riley was rested on the blue line. Jake Muzzin was out on the blue line for the Leafs. Nick Foligno was rested. Those guys will be back. Do they rest some other guys tonight? We'll have to wait and see. It didn't matter. Leafs still took care of business, though, even with the players that were out 4-1. Look, Vancouver, you look at Travis Green, he looks just as physically, emotionally, and mentally beaten down after the press conference after that Leaf game the other night as the Vancouver players surely feel. They've been through a lot. They had the COVID-19 ravaging the team. They're being pushed back to play all these games in a short period of time. They now know they're not making the playoffs. You talk about a team that you're legitimately worried. Where's the incentive? Where's the effort? Where's the energy for the rest of the season? You got to be worried about that for the Vancouver Canucks. You really do. They don't seem to have a whole lot right now left in the tank. I'm probably going to go right back to the bets I liked the other night. I like Toronto in the puck line, even at -130 the other night. It cashed. I would go back to that tonight. I think this is and look, Vancouver and Toronto had David Riddick in net tonight. It's back to Jack Campbell time tonight for the Leafs. So they're going to have obviously the best goalie they have right now, who's really played better. Remember, he had that little tough time after 11 straight wins, and then he had a couple of losses in a row, and now he's bounced back the last few games and played a lot better, back to the way Campbell was playing during that 11-game win streak. Demko in net for Vancouver. But I'm telling you what, remember we were thinking, wow, Demko before the COVID pause for Vancouver, how good he was playing? He's been lousy. He's been really, really bad since the COVID pause. I mean, he's struggled. He's fighting the puck. Now the defense hasn't played well in front of him, but Demko hasn't been as sharp. So I like Toronto puck line again, and I wouldn't talk anyone out of Toronto first period, laying the half goal in the first period. Jump on Vancouver early. Once again, I think I'll probably add that bet as well, the Toronto puck line minus a half goal in the first period, which you can get close to even money in this game. Alex, we'll go to you with this one first. Canucks and Leafs.
Yeah, great minds think alike. I'm on that Maple Leafs first period puck line, laying the half goal plus 105. I think they said Jack Campbell's been absolutely sensational. I mean, it's obviously going to be too late for him to make a run for the Vezina, but if you had a first half, second half trophy for that, he would definitely be claiming the second half portion of that trophy. He's been just lights out, and he's definitely going to be the guy moving forward for this Leafs team, already clinching a playoff spot. Vancouver, I mean, even before the COVID, this was just a disastrous season. But now, coming back off of that, it's just amazing that they're even going to give half of an effort with the dozen games they have left going forward. So this looks like a game where it's going to be Toronto in a blowout fashion. I wouldn't talk anybody out of the Maple Leafs team total either, but I like that half. Getting that plus 105. That's the only plus price you're going to get with Toronto at this point, unless they are losing in the game. So I'll go with Maple Leafs first period puck line.
That's the best value play for all of these teams that are minus 250, minus 300, minus 350. First period, laying the half goal on the puck line, because you get even money with these bets. First period puck line with these massive favorites. That's about the best value you can find with these teams. If you want to back these massive favorites, first period puck line is about the best value you can. Like look at Colorado last night. I had the first period puck line in that game against San Jose. Sometimes that's the best value, and sometimes, especially when you think the team's going to get out of the gate strong with a fast start, it's usually a good bet with the massive favorites. Melissa, what do you like here? Vancouver, Toronto?
Yeah, I think that Toronto's going to just keep dominating the series. We saw the matchup between the two with Vancouver coming post-COVID, beating or sweeping, I should say, the Leafs back-to-back. I'm pretty sure those guys left that game saying that's never going to happen again, and just were embarrassed by that. So I love the puck line. I was on the puck line the other night. It was one of my favorite bets. Looking at our entire slate, very close to one of my favorite bets. So I did grab that puck line. I also lean with the under, and here's kind of an interesting stat that I want to throw out here, is each of the Leafs' last 9 games against the Canucks following a win have actually gone under the total. And with Campbell confirmed in net, I think I lean under. I might take a shot. I think Alex is right. We might get a 4-0, maybe a 4-1 win here. But under might be something you guys want to take a look at.
Yeah, that's very true. The game could stay under if the Canucks are as feeble offensively as they were the other night against, again, David Riddick. Now you're facing Jack Campbell. So this game could stay under. It could be kind of like the other night. You get 4-1, 4-2, or even 3-1. Toronto might be what you look at in terms of the score. Canucks could have a tough sledding here offensively tonight against the Leafs. We've got San Jose and Colorado now. Colorado north of minus 300. favorites once again as they take on the Sharks for the second of back-to-back games and consecutive nights for these two teams. The total 6 across the board in this one. I'm tempted by the over here more than last night. I didn't love the full game over. Tonight I like it more. You've got Josef Kovaranch, is how you pronounce that, for San Jose. We'll see if how he does, but I'm not fully sold on him right now in terms of being able to slow down this Colorado team at this point in time. And with Grubauer back last night, even though you could say, yeah, he's fresh, he hasn't played in a while, I don't know if Jared Bednar will stick Grubauer in the net in the second night in a row. You probably see Dubnyk or Johansson in net for the Avalanche. So that could open the door for San Jose to score a bit more. So I'm waiting for the goalie confirmation on the Colorado side, but I haven't locked in anything yet. When I post the card on the Patreon page later, you'll exactly see if I'm on anything in that game, but I'll lean to the over. And from a side perspective, even if there's no Grubauer, I would still only look to Colorado first period puck line and full game puck line, just like I took last night in the game against San Jose. These are big games. Like, Colorado's got to try to stay ahead of Minnesota for second. Vegas lost last night to Arizona. So here's the opening for Colorado to shrink the gap between them and Vegas for first place in the West Division as well. So Colorado first period puck line, full game puck line, and the over 6 for the full game. Those are the 3 bets I'm targeting right now for this Sharks Avalanche game. Alex, what do you think here? San Jose, Colorado.
Wait, Ian, I got to ask you, how do you pronounce the goalie's name for San Jose?
Korenash. Isn't that how you say it?
Korenash? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know, because it seems like
it's Korenar, but it's one of those European names, and the NAR is ash sound. So Korenash.
Okay.
Josef Korenash is how you say it.
A lot of letters that I don't see spell about that, but okay. Yeah. So anyway, he's going to be going in net for San Jose, which usually for me means I'm going to be looking at the first period over. And you've also got Colorado that's been on a absolute dynamite run. Both these teams have been on great runs too, with the goal in the first 10 minutes prop. We've seen them go on extended streaks, 4 games each in a row. So I'm definitely going to be playing this first period over, even though it's minus $1.45. Almost $1.50. That's my cutoff point. But I like this one enough. I wouldn't even tie this in with the parlay. I would just play this individually. I think we're going to see a great effort from Colorado. I know a lot of people were looking at some of these higher first period totals and betting the prop for both teams to score in the first period. I wouldn't necessarily do that here, because we could see a 2-0 Colorado, 3-0 Colorado if San Jose doesn't get things rolling offensively early. Like I said, it really doesn't matter who's in net for Colorado. They're going to score goals, but they're going to give up some goals between the tandem that they have with Dubnyk and Johansson. So I like this first period over quite a bit. That's the only play I got here.
All right, liking first period over San Jose, Colorado. Melissa, what about you with the Sharks and the Avs?
Yes, this game last night, I was able to watch it and was on the under, so that was a great defensive effort. The Sharks team really has been struggling with just scoring. But after a back-to-back situation here, I can see I lean over here. I'm also going to look at the Avs, take it one step further and look at their team total in the first period. I've been playing a lot of these bets lately where you get these heavily favorited teams that just give us zero value. Sometimes on that first period team total over 1, you can get a nice plus value there. So that will be my official play. Avs team total over 1 in the first period. And then I'm also on the puck line here. I think they just continue to roll here against this Sharks team that doesn't seem to really have much drive lately, except when they play the Yotes.
Yeah, exactly. The Sharks, ask Arizona. Yeah, they showed a lot of drive that night, although it was really Arizona mistakes that were predominant more than anything. I mean, they gift wrapped so many goals early in those games for San Jose, but nevertheless, give San Jose credit. They took advantage. So Melissa likes first period team total over for the Avs, and as well the full game puck line as well, laying that 1.5. And this could be, in terms of head-to-head, huge games, playoff type games, this could be it tonight. Dallas Stars, Nashville Predators. Dallas needs to catch Nashville. This is their glorious opportunity to beat them head-to-head and get closer. So this is a must for Dallas, essentially, tonight. Even money, both sides here in this game in Music City. Total right now in this game sitting at 5.5, or actually it's 5 in some spots, 5.5 in others. So make sure you shop around for where this total is. Hudobin in net for the Stars. You got to expect it. Saros for the Predators. They've been riding him lately. And the good news for Nashville, like I think Saros is wearing down a little bit. So that's the one thing I worry about with him. He's played a lot of hockey, a shit ton of hockey, because they have no confidence in Rene. He's been playing great. They've been just going back to Saros every game, but they've at least had a few days off, Nashville, now since their last game, which was against Florida. So that should benefit them here. A few days off prior to this game against Dallas. I still think Nashville probably wins this game. I don't know if I'll bet it because this is the last stand for Dallas. If they have any hopes of tracking down the Predators, this is a must-win spot for them. But the Predators seem like the better team right now, and I don't want to go against them at home in this spot off the loss the other night to Florida. And to me, Dallas is just not a team I can constantly rely on offensively, game in and game out. And that continues to be the case. Some games, their offense comes to life. And then other games like against Carolina, they lost 5-1 and got shut down. Against Tampa Bay, 3-0, they get shut out in that game. They've really missed Sagan all year, and Radulov's been out for a while. They missed those two guys big time. Pavelski, Ben, a lot falls on them, and Hintz. And after that, and Robertson's been pretty good too, the rookie. And then after that, they're not getting anything from anybody at forward, the rest of the lineup. And that's been an issue here for this Dallas team. So I know Dallas needs the game, and for that reason, I ain't going against the Stars, but a pit of my gut still says, look, Nashville looks like, and the eye test tells me that Nashville's still probably the better team in the way they're playing right now. And you look at it, they were up on Florida and could have beaten Florida twice. And then Florida rallied in the third period to beat them. So Nashville, to me, has just been a little bit better, especially goaltending-wise. And even offensively, Nashville, they're at least producing a little bit more goal production these days than the Stars. So I'm not involved in the game, but I think the better team probably wins here, and that would be Nashville. But obviously it's a must for Dallas if they have any playoff hope still left. Alex, what do you think here, Dallas and Nashville?
Yeah, this is a game I would be looking at playing the draw here. You're not getting that much value, plus 280, plus 300, value comparative to other draw plays. But when you look at these two teams, obviously the points are a premium for both. They're fighting for the same spot, but you've seen 4 of the last 5 meetings go into overtime, and we saw Dallas go into overtime with Carolina earlier in the week. So this definitely feels like one of those games where, like I said, both teams fighting for that spot. They don't want to, get out of here with 0 points. If it's tied with 5 minutes left, we're going to see a slow pace here. And I think we're going to see this one go in overtime, and they're going to settle by fight it out for that extra point. So I'll take a shot with a draw here, plus 280.
All right, Alex, the draw king today. Draw and first period overs. That's 2 betting markets and 2 derivative bets that are a go-to for Alex. He's got some draws already today and first period overs. He's liking another draw here, Dallas and Nashville. It makes sense. Should be a close game, probably a 1-goal game either way. Pretty tight checking. I could see this one being tight with a chance to go to overtime. Melissa, what do you think here, Dallas, Nashville?
Yes, I'm with Alex. I love the draw here. Like you mentioned, previous matchups between these two teams have gone into that overtime. It's hard for me to pick a side here. I lean Nashville just because they have home ice advantage. But again, you never know with these teams that are fighting to get that last chance in. I also lean on the under here. The Predators, when playing in a Saturday night spot, the under has hit 5 games in a row. If I get the under at 5.5, I will be able to be on it. But if it stays at 5, I don't like playing an under 5. I'm usually more on the over 5 in that spot. So I will probably be shopping around. If I can get that 5.5, I will add in the under. But if it stays at 5, I'm just going to probably just pass and only have the draw in this game.
All right, Florida, Chicago. Next game here, Florida minus 150. Road favorites, the total 6. Pretty much across the board here, some 6.5s depending on where you look here. Chicago has let go of the rope, at least defensively, the last few games. I mean, you've seen what's happened. Tampa Bay has been struggling to score goals, and all of a sudden they hang a 6 spot, half a dozen on the Chicago Blackhawks, and then they end up better effort against Florida after that in the first of the 2 games against the Panthers, but end up losing in overtime 4-3. Kevin Lankinen, by the way, slamming the water bottle against the boards after that game. Very frustrated. It's been a tougher go of it for him. He's played a lot of games. He's not necessarily accustomed to it. You can tell this guy's running on fumes. He's had a pretty solid season, all things considered, for the Blackhawks with a shaky defense and blue line in front of him most nights. And he's done the best he can, but I think he's wearing down a little bit late in the season here, as so many players I'm sure are. at this stage of the season. So it's not totally shocking to see him get frustrated. He'll be back in net, though, tonight for the Blackhawks. And it's Sergei Bobrovsky as Coach Q, the former Blackhawks coach, now Florida Panthers coach, continues to play musical chairs and carousel time with his goaltending. It's a different guy every night. Some nights it's goalie Bob. Some nights it's Drieger, although Drieger's out right now due to injury. And then some nights it's the young rookie phenom, Spencer Knight, who I think is going to have an outstanding career in the NHL and got the victory in the game against Chicago in the last game. Bobrovsky has not been as good lately. We've seen some unsteady goaltending from Bobrovsky lately. He got pulled in his last start against Nashville. He's on a bit of a downward trajectory once again in his last few starts. I'm probably coming back to the bet I had the last game is over the total here with the Panthers and the Blackhawks. Like I say, Chicago's defense is scuffling again. Florida, everybody's lighting it up right now. Barkov, Huberdeau have been outstanding. Vetrano has been outstanding. Sam Bennett has a new lease on life, and look what he's doing since getting traded from Calgary. You got to ride him from a goal-scoring prop every night for right now, Sam Bennett. With what he's doing for the Panthers at this point in time. Scores the game winner the other night for the Panthers. I think we see goals. I mean, I bet Florida the other night. I don't think I could lay this price on the road with Florida with Bobrovsky tonight. I do think they win, but I'm just not comfortable that price with Bob the way his current form is right now. So I'm just going to probably stick to goals in this game. Florida, Chicago, over 6 for me. Melissa, we'll start with you here. Panthers and Blackhawks.
Yeah, so I am actually from Chicago, so I know I have a Pens jersey on. The Blackhawks were my ride or die team growing up. You know, I grew up watching the Chelios, Tony Amonte, Bob Probert era, and then was lucky enough to, as I got older, be able to witness 3 Stanley Cups. One big announcement that Chicago has made for anyone who's from this area is the Blackhawks are the only team right now, or U.S. team, I should say, that is not allowing fans. They finally announced for their final 2 games that they will be allowing fans. And there's nothing like that feeling being at the United Center and hearing the anthem, and it really riles those players up. So that being said, if there were fans tonight, I would be all over the Blackhawks. I think once they finally get the fans back, that's just going to kind of give them that push. I lean with them tonight. I think that they can get Florida off that back-to-back. They actually do really well in back-to-back losses at the United Center. They've won 8 out of their last 10 after a loss in back-to-back situations at the United Center. So value is definitely there if you have faith in the Blackhawks and want to pull the trigger there. It's just a lean for me. I'm also playing the over here. Obviously the Blackhawks are having some issues defensively, and Panthers are finally starting to score a lot. So going to play the over, also lean on the Blackhawks there too.
There it is. I was waiting for that story you had mentioned to me a couple of days ago, the Chicago Blackhawks story, how you got to see a lot of games in person with the Blackhawks. Did you get to see a lot of games in person at the old Chicago Stadium before they went to the United Center?
I think it was always the United Center. From what I grew up like in the 90s. So my dad would always take us to games, and Alex probably knows this too, because if you were a Blackhawks fan growing up, they made you listen to games on the radio. Which is crazy. Yep. So I have memories of my dad, playing the radio and listening to Pat Foley do the play-by-play, and then also just had a tiny Tony Amonte jersey growing up. He was like my idol. So love to be able to be a part of that. And, obviously too, I mentioned Dustin Byfuglien. He was always my favorite player as well. But yeah, I mean, they're in a rebuild right now. I think, I didn't agree with the whole Coach Q situation. He was always my favorite. I think he got a lot of respect. And if there were fans there tonight, I think they would give him a standing ovation. He's still like legend to us. So, looking forward to when they finally can get fans back, because Alex, I'm sure there's nothing like that national anthem, and hearing all of Chicago just roar and cheer during that is you can't replace that feeling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the shitty power plays at times with Coach Q and the line blender stuff that he did that pissed the hell out of Alex a lot of times when he coached, that'll all be forgotten 20 years from now. What will be remembered is Stanley Cups, the success, the winning, the culture that Coach Q and that dynasty era the Blackhawks brought to that franchise. That's what's going to be remembered for sure. And yeah, obviously he's a legend forever in Chicago sports. There's no question. Joe Quenneville for all the success. And yes, I'm a big Pat Foley guy. Big save, brother. That's my favorite Pat Foley, when it's a big save there. Big save. It's just, and his voice and it's only when there's a big save, his voice gets in that high octave. And it's one of my favorite calls from any hockey broadcaster. The way Foley gets his voice in that type of vocal range for a big save by a Chicago goalie, usually Crawford, all these years. So he's one of my favorites, does a great job. And I can't believe they actually fired him once upon a time from the Blackhawks booth. Yeah. But obviously they rectified that glaring, embarrassing mistake and brought him back. Alex, what do you think here, Florida, Chicago?
Yeah, and as Melissa mentioned, like I said, I've sat in this very office many a nights as a kid listening to Hawks home games on the radio because they were not televised. And like I said, the feel is just so much different when there's fans at the United Center. And even though it won't be 20,000 strong, 22,000 when they do get fans back, but definitely want to circle, especially if Dallas is out of the race, because those last two games they played. I might want to be circling the Hawks for one, if not both of those matchups. But as far as this game goes tonight, Florida's got a lot to play for. They still want that Central Division title, and they definitely want to make sure they get home ice advantage if they do fall second. Lakeland, like I said, running on fumes is interesting because Malcolm Subban looked like he was going to be the confirmed goalie, but now they changed it and they said Lakeland will be getting the start. And the way the defense is playing in front of them right now, this just seems like it's going to be a bad, ugly game for the Hawks tonight. So I'm on Florida in regulation minus $1.05. I'm on the over 6 as well. I'll definitely be hovering around watching this game and looking for live spots to bet Florida to score next goal. This might be one of those kind of unfortunate games to watch on TV as a Hawks fan. But, you can't always bet with your heart. You got to go where the money's at, and the money here is with Florida. So I'll be looking back to Panthers this evening.
All right, and the Terry Edelman curse of the St. Louis Blues on his beloved Minnesota Wild continues the other night as they'll play once again tonight. Minnesota hosting St. Louis. Minnesota minus 140 to minus 145. Home favorites, total 5.5. At some point I keep thinking, I still think Minnesota's a little bit better than St. Louis, and could this be the night they finally beat them? I don't know if I want to bet it, though. St. Louis just finds a way to win. And with the way Ryan O'Reilly, O'Reilly Auto Parts, the way he's playing right now for the St. Louis Blues, he's playing like a leader. He's playing like a man possessed. The captain is leading by example. And the Blues, look, they want to nail down this final playoff spot. They're playing like it. You beat Colorado twice in a row, you're doing something right. You beat Minnesota twice, you're doing something right. And Minnesota's going to have to show me that they can beat St. Louis right now. And look, the pressure's put back on St. Louis a little bit by Arizona with their surprising win over the Vegas Golden Knights last night. So, the job isn't complete yet for the St. Louis Blues. Still work to do to nail down this playoff spot. So there should be purpose for the Blues tonight, probably back to Binnington in net for the St. Louis Blues in this game. Really frustrating for Minnesota. They just rallied back the other night against St. Louis and looked like they were going to do to St. Louis what St. Louis did to them the previous game, come back from a deficit and win. But unfortunately, it was St. Louis getting the overtime winner by Mr. O'Reilly himself for the overtime win the other night. I'm just going to stick with what's been working in the head-to-head games with these two teams, and that's over. I mean, the odds makers are clearly reluctant, Alex, Melissa, to put a 6 out there on this Wild team. I mean, they're still 5.5, even though this team has got offense, much more offense than they've had in years past. They're scoring more goals than they have, and to be honest, they're giving up more goals than they have in past seasons as well. So right back to that Blues Wild over 5.5. That's where I'm going with this game. Alex, what do you think here, St. Louis, Minnesota?
Well, the old saying is third time's the charm, and that's what I'm hoping for tonight with this first period over, because the last two games, and it's not for the lack of effort. Both teams have had great chances to score early in this contest, but we've only seen one goal, usually coming from the Blues. And so this is definitely one of those spots where, the Wild got to get things rolling. You can't, afford to have a 3-game losing streak going into the playoffs. We've seen this Wild team back into the playoffs in years past. And I've said it on Twitter before. This is the best Wild team I've seen going into the playoffs in quite some time. So they got to get things amped up. On the flip side, the Blues need this game. They got to get points to try to get a playoff spot. I think we're going to see a lot of goals here. So I like this first period over, only landed $1.15. I like this full game over as well. I think we're going to see goals going back and forth. Both teams they'd rather play solid defensive hockey. We just don't always see it from these clubs. And we go back that last game they played in St. Louis. So, it's 4-1 after the end of the 20. So we know these teams can really get hot going back and forth. So I'm hoping that we'll catch this first period over here tonight after. A swing and a miss on the first two. So that's the play I have. And if I lean with a side, it would have to be St. Louis. They've dominated. They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings against them. And like I said, they've got a lot more to play for right now. So lean with St. Louis on the side, but I'm on the first period over.
All right, first period over, and a little lean to the full game over as well here, 5.5. Are you on the full game too, or just the first period?
Full game over as well on the first.
Full game over as well. All right, first period and full game over for Alex with the Blues. And whoops, he'll be back, I'm sure. Just a little connection issue there for a second. But nevertheless, Melissa, see, I knew this show would go beyond an hour, 15 games. This is a marathon show, but hey, we're having a lot of fun. We'll get you through every game. Melissa, what do you think here, St. Louis, Minnesota?
Yes, this is a tricky one. I've backed the Wild in their first 2 games, had them both times in regulation. And, I said it to myself the other night, I got to start giving this Blues team a little more credit than what I have been. Every time I've been fading this team so heavily this season, and now it's kind of starting to bite me a little bit. But, give the Blues some credit. They were down 3-1 in that first game, came back and finished that out. You get a lot of these teams that are close to the that playoff bubble situation, especially seeing Arizona losing, I think 2 games in that matchup, and just edging them closer and closer. So Terry Edelman, don't hate me, but I don't think I'm going to back the Wild tonight. I lean with the Blues. I'm probably going to just not have any affiliation with this game. Maybe play the over. I'm just going to watch it and hope for Terry Edelman that his Wild pull this one off, just because that's been 2 heartbreaking losses for such a diehard Wild fan that he is. So I'm sorry, Terry, but I can't make this an official play.
We can't always appeal to Terry Edelman or please him all the time. He's got to have to suck it up. We can't pick games based on what Terry wants us to do, right? Nevertheless, but we appreciate Terry's always watches this show every day. Binnington and Kakkonen, your starting goalies here. And Torrey Krug out, by the way, tonight for the Blues. And that's been the amazing part about the Blues. Beating Minnesota, beating Colorado, beating all these good teams with Tarasenko, banged up. Vince Dunn's been out for a while. Gunnarsson on the blue line, of course, out for the season. They had Parayko out for a couple of games there and still find ways to win. O'Reilly, Schwartz, Perron, Mike Hoffman has really turned it up. He's been a very, very streaky player this year for the Blues, and he's on the good side of the streak right now for the St. Louis Blues, playing well for them. So we'll see. They've had Minnesota's number. Can they keep it going tonight? That's the question. Next game, LA Kings, Anaheim Ducks. Kings -135, road favorites, total 5.5 here. Yeah, I'm done betting anything in the games involving these 2 teams. Took a stab on the over last night. No bueno. Not nothing at all here. Side total, nothing at all. You might as well just keep backing the Kings because the Anaheim Ducks clearly can't win right now at this point in time. They bring in Zegras back to the lineup right now for the Ducks, and it still doesn't really matter. They still struggle offensively, still can't find ways to win. And LA's just beaten the hell out of this team and really done well head-to-head against the Ducks the last few times. So they'll probably win again. I just don't want to lay -135. It's a pass for me. Alex, how about you, Kings Ducks?
This is interesting because you got Ryan Miller confirmed for Anaheim. Obviously, we just announced that he's going to retire at the end of the season, which it's interesting.
Rally the troops, maybe. Yeah,
it could be a rally the troops spot. And an interesting note: Ryan Miller and Marc-Andre Fleury are the last 2 goalies in NHL history that are active that have ties on their record. So once Ryan Miller retires, Marc-Andre Fleury will be the last official goalie in NHL history to have a tie on his record. I thought that was a fun tidbit, good trivia question. But this game, I think Anaheim, they had the goal early in the last matchup, and then they ended up giving up too late to LA. And this is a rivalry, of course, it's always fierce and competitive, and it's been really tight, close games. We've seen a lot of these matchups go under, looking at 4 straight, and 7 of the last 8 meetings have gone under the total. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be on Anaheim money line plus $1.15. I think this might be a rally the troops kind of moment for Ryan Miller. He might get one more star down the road because they do have another back-to-back to end the season. but this will be his last home game, unfortunately in front of no fans, it seems like. But what I'm going to also look at is look for a goal early and then jump on that under live. If we can get a goal within the first 5 or 10 minutes, we'll get a better adjusted price of under 6, maybe at an even money price rather than laying $1.35 with just 5.5. So those are the 2 plays I'll be on. I'm on Anaheim officially, and I'm looking for a goal early to try and jump on a live under at 6.
Yeah, Anaheim, I might bet it. That's a very strong situational angle to consider. Ryan Miller just announced his retirement a couple days ago. This is maybe his final home game for sure, and it might be, and you don't know how many more starts he's going to get the last few games either for the Anaheim Ducks. So there could be an incentive and an onus for let's play good defense in front of him. Let's send Ryan Miller and his great career out on the right note, on a winning note. Play well in front of him. Get this guy a win, do everything in our. Now you got to rely on Anaheim. This is a team that can't get out of their own way right now. I get it. But you would think the effort is there and just a rally around this goalie who's had an outstanding career. Of course, his best days were in Buffalo more than they were in Anaheim. But still, they respect the man as a player, as a goalie, the career he's had. And the teammates, I think, rally around that and step up for him. I could see that. And look, LA's not world beaters, and they're minus 135 on the road. I know they've done well against Anaheim, but I could see this. I could see that angle playing out here with the Ducks tonight. Melissa, what do you think here? Kings versus Ducks.
I want nothing to do with this matchup. I'm so sick of these teams. What is this, 5 games that we have to watch this team? Only time that I would possibly watch this matchup is if they put Snoop Dogg in the booth again to keep us all entertained, because these teams are just, I'm tired of watching them. So every time I back the Ducks, they like to lose. So since Alex is on the Ducks tonight, I'm laying off this game. Everything, and nothing for me on this one.
All right, we got the Battle of Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton. Edmonton minus 125, home favorites here against the Flames. The Flames got the better of the Oilers a couple of nights ago. Edmonton will look for some redemption. The total 6 here in this game. Calgary, obviously, with Montreal getting the 2 points against the Winnipeg Jets last night. This is imperative now for Calgary. There's very little margin for error. Got to win again tonight. But Edmonton's the better team, and I like Edmonton at home off a loss, which has been an outstanding bet-on spot for the Oilers. They've been very good at home off defeats. I think they'll be better tonight, and I still think they're better than Calgary. So I know Calgary needs the game, but I'd only look Edmonton here, minus 125. I think they're still the better of these two teams. Bounce-back spot for them. Still Noah Hannafin out for the Flames, which hurts on the blue line a little bit. Jacob Markstrom has played extremely well of late for the Flames. He's given them a chance to win every night. But I don't know. Calgary might have been hit hard by that Montreal loss last night. Is there still that team in that dressing room saying we can make up this ground with not many games left, with still a vast amount of points, 6 behind Montreal again? It's not looking good for Calgary. This is obviously a must for them to win this game, but I would only be on Edmonton. Must win be damned for Calgary. You've got Edmonton at the same point in time. While Calgary needs the win, Edmonton doesn't want to lose 2 in a row to a hated, bitter rival. They don't want that, and they're still the better team. It's only Oilers or pass for me in this game. Melissa, where do you stand here? Battle of Alberta.
Yes, agree with you there. And you mentioned that Oilers are one of those teams that's great in that back-to-back situation after a loss. They've actually, in back-to-back situations in their last 7 following a loss, they've won the next match. So I like them tonight here on the money line. I also like to take it one step further, even take them in regulation. Yes, Calgary is on the bubble right now. They do have a little extra drive, but the Oilers are becoming that team that you just ride after a loss, very similar to what the Jets used to be for us maybe about a month ago. But I just don't see how this team can lose 2 in a row there.
All right, liking the Edmonton Oilers to bounce back here tonight, and also in regulation for a little bit more value, betting that one as well for the Oilers to get it done in 60 minutes against the Flames. We'll see if the Oilers can bounce back here. And if the Oilers win tonight, they would definitely put the final nail probably in Calgary's playoff coffin. Because let's be honest, Flames pretty much have to just about run the table the rest of the way to give themselves any kind of chance. Alex, what do you think here with the Flames and the Oilers?
Yeah, of course, it's 2 bitter hated rivals, and both teams, this game means a lot for both teams. Edmonton, like I said, don't want to lose, get on a losing streak. They still have some ground and climb, want to officially clinch that playoff spot where Calgary's pretty much fighting for their lives at this point now. So I look at this first period under. You look at Edmonton last 19 games, 13-6 to the first period under, also 15-4 to the no prop on the goal in the first 10 minutes. So I think we're going to see a slow kind of playoff style kind of feeling out process in this first period. Not going to get a lot of goals at all if we get a goal at all. So at plus 110, I'm going to go first period under with the Oilers and Flames.
Yeah, usually when it comes to Calgary and Edmonton, Alex, I'm concerned about penalties leading to power plays, leading to goals. And usually it has me looking over, but both of these teams are really ratcheting it up defensively. Calgary realizes if we're going to win games, we got to keep the games low scoring. Of course, since Mike Smith's taken over in net, Edmonton's dug in defensively. It stayed under the other night. And Calgary needs the 2 points. They need the win. They must have the win. They can't be running around looking for their pound of flesh and risk getting, a bunch of penalties tonight and stuck in the penalty box against obviously an Edmonton team with McDavid and Draisaitl, guys that can make you pay if you're going to be in the penalty box all night. So I think they realize we got to stay out of the scrums, no shit and shenanigans after the whistle, play clean, play whistle to whistle, no penalties, don't give this team power play chances. That's the method to winning for Calgary. So I don't think you're going to see that nasty, chippy, physical game like sometimes we see with Calgary and Edmonton. It was a very tame game the other night, Calgary and Edmonton. There wasn't a whole lot of scrums or nasty physical play during that game compared to what you usually see from them. And I think it's because Calgary's thinking, hey, eyes on the prize. We need 2 points right now. Can't be risking taking dumb, selfish, needless penalties. So that's why I do think this game, I would lean under the total in it as well. Next up, Vegas and Arizona. We have reached game number 15, our final game on this massive Saturday NHL card. Vegas and Arizona. We've got Vegas minus 200 road favorites here in this game, right around the same price pretty much as last night. 5.5 the total here in this game. Arizona caught Vegas napping Vegas was flat as a pancake. Who's kidding who? And even Pete DeBoer said it. Even for a team that had won 11 in a row, we basically didn't have our second burst of energy. He said we were just lacking a little something. Our passes weren't sharp. We just weren't sharp. We weren't winning the puck battles. Arizona was. Arizona had that urgency. Vegas didn't. Give credit to Arizona. It's hard to figure this team out, right? You think they got 2 winnable games against San Jose. They get off to horrifying starts in both games, and they lose both games. And sure enough, they turn around and play the hottest team in the NHL, Vegas, and they end up winning as big underdogs last night and shutting out the Golden Knights as well, 3-0. I don't know if that's going to continue here. I'd expect Vegas to be better in this game tonight for the Golden Knights. There's still a lot to play for Vegas. Obviously, Arizona needs to win out to have any chance to catch St. Louis, much like Calgary does. But for Vegas, they're still trying to hang on for first with Colorado, right nipping at their heels, right behind them in second. I wouldn't trust Arizona tonight. I don't think I'm backing Vegas either, because obviously Arizona's a team that can't afford many, if any, losses right now. But I'd expect Vegas to be better. I'd probably lean to the team total over for Vegas. It's going to be Darcy Kemper in net after Aiden Hill got the start last night, and Kemper's been rough the last few games. Part of the problem with the slow starts is he hasn't made saves early in these games against San Jose for the Coyotes. Both games, Darcy Kemper is getting lit up in the first period against the Sharks. So I worry about that here with him. His confidence has been shaken a little bit by these last 2 performances. So I would come right back to the bet that fell short for me last night, which was the over here at 5.5. Usually if Vegas wins, and if you think Vegas is going to be locked in and play better, you expect them to score goals. I think they will. Prior to last night, they had scored 4 goals or more in a majority of their games during that 11-game win streak. So I would expect their offense to get back revved up again tonight. Stone, Pacioretty, Alex Tuch, Janmark, and company. I'd expect them to bounce back offensively tonight, and Arizona to chip in some goals of their own as well. Over 5.5. I'm coming back to that tonight. Golden Knights and Coyotes. Alex, what do you think here? Vegas, Arizona.
Well, you mentioned, Darcy Kemper starting in net for Arizona. He struggled early in some of the games that he's played as of late. And then, the egg that Vegas laid last night in that game, losing 3-0 against these Coyotes. So I'm looking here at Vegas first period puck line, laying at half a goal. You're getting plus 140, plus 145. I think it's a great spot. And they come out guns blazing here against a weaker Kemper and Yeah, just Coyotes team that just kind of just seems lost. They can't string together anything good right now. If they do find their way into the playoffs, definitely gonna be a team worth fading in the postseason. But Vegas, they've got stuff to play for. Obviously, they want to lock up that division title if possible. So I think they come out really hot here. So first period puck line for Vegas, lay and a half goal plus 140.
All right, Vegas puck line plus 140, laying the half goal with the Golden Knights in the first period. The good news for the Coyotes is they've gotten some offense from Phil Kessel lately. They still miss Connor Garland, who's out right now due to injury. Where's Derek Brassard's game gone to? He has been unnoticeable, to say the least, here for the Coyotes this season. Remember, Derek Brassard with Ottawa, with the Rangers, started his career in Columbus. He's had some good seasons, and it's just not Derek Brassard from those years anymore at this stage of his career. And obviously, he's had a tough season overall for the Arizona Coyotes offensively, and it just hasn't gotten going for him. Melissa, last game, what do you like here, Vegas, Arizona?
Yeah, it was really unusual last night to see the Knights not put up at least one goal. You don't see that very often with them. I'm with Alex here. I think that they're going to come out strong here on the first period. I don't think that they're going to let that happen again. I did take them in regulation. I got that at minus 121. So rather than, doing the puck line, I just decided to play it a little more safe here. But I do see them bouncing back. I like both of those, team total over, and then also puck line first period. But my official play will be the in regulation.
All right, official play from Melissa Cunningham at Vegas in regulation, minus 120 against Arizona. And we've talked about this, Alex and I, before when Alex, before his hiatus, we talked about it with the games being so tight, 1-goal games, a lot of them later in the season, maybe a little bit safer to go regulation as opposed to puck line if you like the favorite in a game, because you get a lot more competitive and tighter games down the stretch of the season. So I wouldn't fault anybody, Melissa, you or anybody else, looking regulation instead of the puck line on favorites for a little bit more certainty with those wagers. All right, we have gotten to the end of this massive Saturday card. I knew this show would go over an hour. I just didn't know how long it would be, but an hour and a half, we can't give you any more. We've emptied the tank here. I have, Alex has, Melissa, our special guest, has. We've given you all we've got. I can guarantee you. I don't know if we put a W on the board tonight as a team here at the Ice Guys today, but I can tell you we gave it our all. That's what I would say if I was doing a post-show press conference right now. Wow. That was a great show, though. Great insight, great analysis. Melissa, before we get to best bets and wrap up, we want to thank you for joining us today on the show. It was a pleasure. You know your stuff. You're a big hockey fan and better. Your breakdowns were outstanding with each game, and absolutely would love to have you back on the show many times, especially during the playoffs. So if we can make it work and make it happen, we certainly will. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I got my mimosa ready for our best bets that I'm going to give to. So, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
It was, absolutely awesome stuff. And again, being a loyal viewer and listener, we appreciate it every day, Melissa, at least as often as she can, tuning into the show, calling us the best hockey betting show anywhere. We appreciate that as well. We go in depth. I mean, we really do. I mean, we don't just give you picks. We give you really, really good analysis, sometimes too much on my part. But nevertheless, we give you a lot in terms of information and analysis and insight. And we hope everybody enjoys it. All right. Before best bets, another reminder, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. It is a great time of year. NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball daily, the playoffs coming up in the NHL and NBA. Great time of year to try out DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up for that account. When you do, you'll get deposit bonuses, weekly specials, and weekly incentives. Check out DraftKings. Download the app. Sign up for an account and use the promo code THPN. All right, it is time for best bets for this Saturday card. There's certainly a lot to choose from. It's hard to zone in on one bet on a card like this, but we'll do our best. We'll start with our special guest, Melissa Cunningham. Best bet time. Melissa, what do you like?
I'm going to go back to the Oilers money line. I like them tonight in that back-to-back situation. Proven record to come off a loss and get the win. So Oilers money line for me. Cheers, you guys.
Yeah, cheers with my ice cold mud coffee. Basically, it's like mud right now. It's so damn cold. It's been, I haven't gotten a chance to drink it too much, but yeah, Edmonton. Cheers, nevertheless. Though I wish it was booze. I wish it was something other than ice cold buddy coffee. But nevertheless, it is. Edmonton minus 125 against Calgary for Melissa with her best bet. Alex, what do you like? Best bet.
Yeah, my body's wondering what the hell's going on because I've drank almost 2 bottles of water today. So that being said, my best bet was going to be the Hurricanes and Blue Jackets draw plus 420. That is an outrageous price for two teams that have gone to overtime in 3 of the last 4 meetings, and a Columbus team that they haven't rolled over and fallen dead just yet. They've been scrappy, and they've had 2 straight games go past 60 minutes. So that's a great price, great spot. Also, it's Kentucky Derby Day. My Derby pick is the number 15 spot, Rock Your World. And in the Turf Classic, that's the race before the Kentucky Derby, I like, let's see, to the number 2 horse named Count Again, the 12-1. So those is a couple of free horse plays there as well. But I like the Columbus, Carolina draw at plus 420 is my best bet.
All right, going for a big plus price payout with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Carolina Hurricanes draw at plus 425 for Alex B. Smith with his best bet for this Saturday card. Mine is going to be, you know what? It's so predictable. I mean, I don't like to be blah or boring or predictable. You know, I was considering Devils Flyers over once again for best bet. I'm going to go a little more exciting. We're not getting the best price here, but we're going underdog hunting. Ottawa Senators here, plus 135, plus 140 against Montreal. I like this spot. Montreal's got to show me they could play good 2 games in a row. They have not done that for weeks now. A little bit of a letdown after a huge win that pretty much gave them the separation that should be enough to stave off the Calgary Flames for that final spot. And Ottawa, all they do is keep on playing hard every single night. They've given Montreal fits this year. They're actually in good form right now, Ottawa. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've actually won 4 of their last 5. They beat Calgary a couple weeks ago. They split with Vancouver, and then they won 2 in a row against Vancouver, and 4 of their last 5. They're in good form, Ottawa, right now. Live underdog, Senators plus 140 against the Canadiens. That'll be my best bet for this Saturday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We thank our special guest, Melissa Cunningham, and so good to see Alex B. Smith back in the fold. Alex will be with us tomorrow, and our special guest, Devin Didiometti, will be with us tomorrow as well, breaking down the card. 1 game tomorrow, but we're going to have Alex and Deeds tomorrow talk about the Monday games. I won't, because Jimmy and I will be on Monday. We'll give you our thoughts on the Monday card, the 2 of us on Monday's show. Tomorrow we'll let Alex, who's not going to be with us on Monday, and Devin Didiometti, our special guest, talk about the Monday games on the Sunday show tomorrow. So make sure you join us for that. Sunday, noon Eastern, we're back again. Again, the Ice Guys is on YouTube live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Melissa Cunningham and Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Let's have an awesome Saturday. Let's have a winning Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Sunday right here for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast.